afternoon. We'll call the meeting to order, and I do thank everybody for being so flexible to be here in the afternoon for our special session, and then also the Advanced Ed team for being flexible with us that we could schedule this in the afternoon when most of us could be here. With that, we'll get started with roll call.
I messed up my line, so all 5 members of the board are present and accounted for. We have a quorum.
Start the pledge. Great. Next is a pledge, and we'll have Dr. Wall lead us this afternoon. Well, as you're all aware, our workshop topic today is the Advanced Ed Exit Report. We've had the luxury of having Advanced Ed here April 14th through the 16th, conducting interviews and observations, and we're very excited to hear what you have to share. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Dr. Wall to lead us.
Thank you very much, Layla. It's been a pleasure having the Advanced Ed External Review team here. It's really been a pleasure going through this process. I was able to lead the standards or facilitate the standards 2 team as we had other administrators lead their standard respectively, but that continuous improvement that Carmel Clay has been known for and has valued is represented in this Advanced Ed review, and we take seriously the concept of continuous improvement for what we do and deliver for our students, and that's really a tradition of excellence that is part of Carmel Clay Schools, has been and will be in many, many years to come. So it's been enjoyable. Amy, I'm going to let you do the honors if you want to, and I want to give Amy a kudos. I mean, she has really been the administrator who has kept all the buses running on time on this one. So, Amy, thank you very much for all your hard work.
Thanks, Dr. Wall. Thank you. And for the past 3 days, we have had 6 great educators that have taken their time to come and visit with us and learn more about our district, and then to give us some feedback on our continuous improvement efforts. And so I'll turn it over to Kathy, our lead evaluator from Advanced Ed, and she'll share her exit report.
Before we get started, I'd like to say on behalf of the Advanced Ed team, what a pleasure and a privilege it has been to spend time in your system. We have thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. Your hospitality has been great. Very nice accommodations to stay and work in, because we work into, I'm going to say we are at night, but we put a lot of time in the evening. The food has been great, and we so enjoyed being in the buildings. We would have loved to have been in all 15 buildings, but time doesn't permit that. So of the 7 buildings we had the pleasure of being in, we thank you for the hospitality in the building and the pleasure meeting your principals, your staff, and most of all the pleasure of meeting your students. They are truly a reflection of all the hard work that you as administrators and staff do in this district, because they were a delight to spend time with. I had a kindergartner that read The Hungry Caterpillar to me in one of the classes. So I meant, it's just the conversations we were able to have with them was great also. But I would like my team to be able to introduce themselves before they leave. And so, as you know, I'm Kathy Reichsteiner. I was a lead evaluator. I'm part of your out-of-state contingent. I'm from Missouri, and I'm glad when I got here, lots of Cardinal fans and within Carmel Clay, so that's been nice for me. But I'll let the rest of the team introduce themselves before we get started.
I'm Mark Eastridge, I'm superintendent of schools in Crawford County, Indiana. And thank you for taking place.
And I'm Lynn Hammond, Director of Innovations and Learning in Tribal School Foundation. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you. I'm Ann Ledesky. I'm a principal at Parkview Elementary School in Northridge, Indiana. And thank you. This has been a wonderful experience, and I've learned a great deal. Good afternoon, Mayor. I'm the Deputy Superintendent of Instruction for the Board of Public Schools in Northern Montana. It's been a pleasure to be here. Good afternoon. My name is Carla Pastel. I'm from Michigan County, Michigan. I serve as the principal in Los
And I would also like to say that you are my 23rd district accreditation as I've gone through this process, and it is so nice to come into a system that has truly used this process as a reflective process to look at themselves honestly and to use this as part of their continuous improvement process. And you have certainly done that. And so we thank you for all the hard work that I know you put into the internal audit that you did as a system. So as you know, we are your external audit, and I have a short PowerPoint today as the exit report, and within that there are some slides that we go through at the beginning that talk about the advanced ed process. And then within this PowerPoint, we leave you with some powerful practices and then required actions. And as you know, with this protocol, every system is left with at least one required action. That's part of the process. And remember, required actions are not punitive in any way. The required action is looking, hopefully validating not only all the good things you're doing at Carmel Clay, but validating challenges that you still have even brought forward that you want to go forward in your planning process. So we hope that when we leave you here, the information, the required actions that we're leaving with you, as you know, you have to submit a plan to your state NCA Advanced Ed office within 2 years. So those you do have to work on within the next 2-year process. But I think you'll find that there are not going to be any surprises to you as a system. This is what you already know about the Advanced Ed, the accreditation process. Advanced Ed is not only within the United States, it's an international protocol. I don't know if you realize how many schools overseas in Saudi Arabia, in China, in South America, in Italy that are accredited by Advanced Ed. All the Department of Defense schools are accredited by Advanced Ed. So it's actually part of an international protocol also. But it's to build capacity of the institution and improve and sustain, and as you know, sustaining is the important word, student learning, and stimulating and improving the effectiveness and the efficiency throughout the institution. It's a balanced accreditation process, and we'll talk more about this in a few minutes, but this is kind of a new component as a way that Advanced Ed is looking at this process, and it's analyzing the evaluation for the impact of teaching and learning, your leadership capacity, and your resource utilization. And further down there's a slide that I'll get into more details with these 3 areas. This is just talking about us as a team, who by now you're well acquainted with, and the review process. As an external review process, we are here to provide analysis and evaluation, to deliver, we hope, valuable feedback and direction for improvement. So as we go forward here, this gives you an overview of the interviews that we had within the Monday and Tuesday. So we had 42 administrators, 68 teachers, 14 support staff, 63 students, 7 parents, and 5 board members. My number doesn't add up if you're quickly adding because we just added the board members. So we're actually at 199 there instead of 194. And we were in 54 effective learning environment observations. So we were in 54 classrooms. So when we look at the total number of classrooms in Carmel Clay, that is a small sampling. And we wish that we had the opportunity to be in a larger number. So just remember that as we go into the report, that we were only in 54 of the classrooms within the system. So here is the averages. And as you know, the Elliott is a form we use, and it's broken down into 7 learning environments. Now, there's some things that you have to remember about our classroom observations. We go into a classroom for 20 minutes. It could be at the beginning of the classroom, it could be at the middle of the lesson, or it could be at the end of the lesson. And we actually do put that into the system at what point we're entering. But there are 7 learning environments, and here are the averages that you had as a district. It's on a 1 to 4 scale. As we go in, as you know, going across, you have 4, which is very evident that that's happening. 3 is evident, 2 is somewhat evident, and 1 is not observed. Now, not observed doesn't mean it does not happen in your classroom. It's just that when we're there, it was not happening in your classroom. But I can tell you from doing 23 districts, your scores are very good as far as the environmental learning environments are. Your lowest was digital learning environment, and there again, we're only in there 20 minutes. If you don't have students actively engaged using technology, you're not going to have a high score there. Now, this is what I talked about before in the 3 areas. This is new to Advanced Ed. You didn't see this last year. Last time you went through district accreditation, because remember we were with the old terminology of highly functional, operational, and you know as you went through the self-assessment, you scored yourself on each indicator just as we did when we prepared our final report. So this is on a scale of 100 to 400. So the overall, and it's a formula that Advanced Ed uses, you were at a scale of 354. For teaching and learning, and this is looking at scores from Standard 3, Standard 5 continuous improvement, and your performance diagnostic that you put together. So all of those indicators go into that score. The next one was, and that was, you know what, I apologize, that's playing with numbers, that should be 352. You know, that's my apology, we didn't catch that. That should be at a 352. Not a 322. So that should be at 352. I'll correct that. You have leadership capacity, which is standards 1, 2, and your stakeholder feedback. And that was at 350. And then resource utilization, you were at 363. I apologize for the 322. That's a little number on this little thing, and every time you go in to change, the numbers get messed up. So you had 354 overall. Teaching and learning was 352, governance leadership capacity 350, and resource utilization was 363. So that was the total of all of your numbers. And I say those are very high. When you're looking at 400 as a top, you could get in any of those scores. So we go into powerful practices, and this is a little bit different too, because last time you had commendations and you had recommendations, and so the terminology has changed, and we link every powerful practice and every opportunity and every required action is linked to a specific indicator now. So that's what that number is behind. That is the standard indicator that powerful practice goes with. So we begin with number 1, and it talks that the school corporation has incorporated a 2-pronged strategic planning system focused both on achievement and social emotional needs. As a team, we were impressed when I first read your self-assessment, and I saw a new superintendent just starting this year, and then after listening to Dr. Wall and listening to the central administrators as they gave the standards overview, one of the things you worked towards from your last accreditation was that strategic planning process. And so in 2011, that evolved and you made your strategic plan. And then as Dr. Wall has come in, you now have goals that you have developed as a system. And you have mesh those 2 areas together. They go so well together. And so that's a compliment to you as a system that with the new superintendent coming in, that you are that far along already in your process. Speaks highly of you as as an administration that was in place when Dr. Wall came in. It speaks highly of the ability of Dr. Wall to come in and you all become a collaborative team together. The second one is the staff actively engages in formal, comprehensive program evaluation to inform improvement and instructional decisions. You have a very robust program evaluation system. And you are very good at looking at your challenges. You know, some of the things that might have been required actions for you as a system, you had already identified. And you're already working towards those. And the program evaluation that you have in place is so important to that continuous improvement process. You're continually looking at and you're making sure, and we all know, you know, if something's not working, get rid of it. You don't need it to be there. We don't have the time or the fiscal resources to support that. And that's why your program evaluation process is so important. And I think that's what has led to your resource utilization being as high as it was, you know, evaluating how you spend your money. Number 3 is the board and a unified central administration work collaboratively to facilitate outstanding student achievement and effective operations of the school corporation. You know, your data speaks for itself. You know, when you look at where you've come on your standardized testing of data, and I'm not an Indiana person, so they had to explain the plus to me. And that, to me, was the impressive piece of data, because you have that steady incline. And we all know in education, that's what's important. Even if we're taking some little steps, as long as they're going up, that's the positive. And you have made some great increases there. The next one, leadership at all levels within Carmel Clay School Corporation are focused and work cohesively to monitor and support the improvement of instruction. District-wide practices and plans are student-centered and focused on student growth and improvement. And that speaks to your building plans and how they link to the strategic plan, and how you as building administrators and staff are so focused on the needs of your building. You're still with what Carmel Clay wants to do as a system, but you still have the autonomy as a building to look at the needs there, and that speaks highly of your central office administration and you as administration, that you work together to accomplish that. The next one is all staff members of the Carmel Clay School Corporation participate in rigorous embedded program of professional learning aligned with the corporation's purpose and direction that includes program evaluation. Kind of ties back into, you know, you look at everything, and then what do we need to do, and what do we need to give our teachers to support what we want them to do. You know, we can require teachers to implement things, but if we're not supporting them, you know, we make their job much harder. But you're focused and you're looking at that. I would add here that we heard over and over in the elementary buildings that we were in how key your instructional specialists have become in your program implementations, in your professional development. And I know you're already probably doing this, but collecting that data to see the effectiveness of that component for your professional development and for student achievement, I think is just going to be valuable. And I know you're already doing that because you're so data driven. But then that kind of, you know, we cannot as advanced ed recommend financial things, but I know as you go forward looking at how effective they are will lead you to looking at the importance of that program. The school corporation works to identify staffing needs, allocates fiscal resources, and engages in the appropriate evaluation of programs and staff to ensure high student achievement and to meet the needs of students. You make sure you have the resources. Now, it may not be everything you want, but when we talk to students, when we talk to teachers, you know, they said if we need professional development, we get it. If we need something in our classroom, we get it. So we have the resources there, and you've done a very good job of allocating that as a system. central office and school leaders communicate comprehensive information about the school corporations in multiple delivery methods at the degree of sophistication to all stakeholder groups. We heard over and over from parents how well you communicate with them, and staff how well things are communicated between their building administration and them. And then we heard from teachers and staff how well central office administration communicates. You know, if we need something, we email, they get back to us, they email us back. And that's just critical to what you want to accomplish, because you're a big system and you sometimes have layers in there, but you know how to work through your layers, and that's what's very important to accomplishing the goals that you want to go forward with. Okay, that's all the real good things. Now, remember, this isn't a bad thing. This is still a good thing for you also. But you have 2 required actions we're going to leave you with. And the first one speaks to developing a long-range plan to address the shifting population both geographically and demographically to meet the academic and social needs of all students. I know that's something you're talking about. You have shifts in populations geographically, but you also have some demographic shifts that are coming into your system, and some demographic shifts that may increase within your system. So it's looking at, in a long-range plan, not just a quick Band-Aid on how we solve this problem, but let's really look hard and with a long-range plan is how we can facilitate this. And in a way, it's being proactive of anything that might be coming down for you as a system. And the second one is to review and evaluate current resources for the implementation of instructional technology into all classroom instruction to meet evolving student learning expectations. So it's providing that support as you go forward with, we heard a lot of things out in the building regarding the implementation of technology and professional development needs that you might have. So this is just reviewing and evaluating currently how you're using your resources to accomplish what you want to accomplish for your students in the area of technology. And I know you're already looking at the equity of what you have as far as technology, but as we all know, as we bring new programs with technology, you have different support needs, whether it's for hardware, but having that instructional technology support is key for implementation with teachers. And that's probably an area that you really need to focus on, is how do we want to support our teachers with instructional technology within our system. So those are the 2 required actions, and as you know, within 2 years you have to submit a plan to the state office, and it's just a plan on how you are accomplishing or meeting these required actions. So we don't come back. It's not a review process. You don't have to go through this for another 5 years. It's just a simple report, and then the state office signs off on that as far as that goes. It does not affect whether you're accredited or accredited now. It's just part of the process. So, based on our findings from the review of evidence, this external review team recommends that Carmel Clay School Corporation be accredited pending further review and final action by the Advanced Accreditation Commission. So we can't give you final accreditation. That only comes from the Advanced Ed State Board, and that is in December and June. So you'll have to wait till June to get that final stamp, but there is no doubt that you will be district accredited by Advanced Ed. So give yourselves a hand. That was a lot of hard work. And you have a lot to be proud of, because you're a big system, but just from being here 3 days, you can see how you collaborate as a system, and you do a very good job of doing that. And that's critical. We all know down to the classroom for giving those teachers collaboration time is critical. So you do a very good job as an administrative staff in your collaboration. And you have very good board support. We enjoyed speaking with all boards, all 5 board members, and you're lucky that you have board members that are very supportive of what you do in your jobs as administrators and teachers. So we will say external review completed. We'll be leaving in a few minutes. Advanced office review sends a report back to you again in 30 days. I have to go home and still do some work on it. And then it goes through a reader review process, and it goes to Tempe, and they read it, and then you finally get it. But please, and I know they will share it with you, look at that, and I know you're going to use that self-assessment for continuous improvement. And then you will be in June when you get your final accreditation status. And as we've already said, we thank you for the opportunity to be part of Carmel Clay for 3.5 days. It's been our pleasure, and thank you for all the good things you do for the students at Carmel Clay. So we'll say goodbye then.
One more thank you to the external review team. We appreciate you coming to spend time in our schools with our teachers, with our principals, and mostly with our students. You really validate a lot of the things that we feel very passionate about here, and appreciate the insights of the 6 educators from different states in Indiana to come and spend time with us in this very important process. I want to thank all the principals out in the audience, too, and assistant principals for being here this afternoon, for all the work you did in your building internal reviews as well as the district standard review. Thank you so much. Critical work done every day with a passion for improving what we do for our kids. So thank you so much. We wish you safe travels back to where home is for you, and you've left a piece of yourself with us, and we thank you for that. We're better as a result of your visit. Thank you so much.
With that, does the board have any comments? Or I feel like Dr. Wall did a very nice job of summing up our appreciation for you coming out and doing our very comprehensive evaluation. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so very much. Then moving on, our next item is consent. Pardon?
Did you guys want to go?
Oh, yes, please go. Okay, we'll take a couple moments, and you are all excused.
Planes to catch. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's all right. Thank you. Okay, moving right along, we have consent. May I get a motion to approve consent?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Oh, yes.
I actually have something. I just wanted to say, I was looking at the personnel report, and I want to thank Ryan for always putting that together for us, but just to thank, there's lots of people I see who are retiring or moving on to other things, and just thank them for their years of service to Carmel Clay Schools. We're losing some mighty fine people.
Yes, we are. Ms. Snows?
Yes, I wanted to say the same thing, that I looked at the list, and there's so many people that I know on the list that are finally retiring, and they have been very good friends of mine for quite a long time, and I'm sorry to see them go, but I know that they will be happy in their retirement, and especially a couple of people who are also leaving, not retiring, but just leaving. So I'm sorry to see them go as well, but know that they're moving on to better things.
Any other comments? All in favor? Aye. Wow. Okay. Any reports whatsoever we'd like to share?
Oh.
Yes, Mrs. Snows?
Yes. the school board just got back from National School Board Association Conference, and we learned a lot. Kathy went, Tricia went, and I went. But I just wanted to make everybody aware that the National School Board Association has started a national campaign for Stand Up for Public Education, for public schools. And they have red bracelets, and you can get those, I think you can probably get them online. Anyway, so, but it's a wonderful campaign that they've started. They've got Magic Johnson came to talk and was wonderful in what he said about public education and how it affected his life. And also Saul Khan is a spokesperson, and National PTA, yes, have just joined the organization as well. So looking for bigger and better things and a lot of neat things to come from them.
And we'll have opportunity for those reports the 28th. For good speakers at that conference.
Wonderful. Okay, then. Meeting adjourned.